Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. I'm Mike Amos, hoping that you're doing well today on a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday as we head toward Homecoming 2018 at Troy University. And hope everybody's getting ready like I am. And all my folks always come in. You know, it's a holiday to me when you come to Troy for Homecoming. You know, some people call it Homecoming, some people call it Troy University Appreciation Day, but whatever you call it, it is a wonderful day to be in Troy, Alabama, and of course, all that in all of the pageantry and excitement, not only of homecoming at Troy University, but the big parade in downtown Troy is always a big to do, and it's going to be a lot of fun this weekend as we celebrate Troy University Homecoming 2018. And Troy University Appreciation Day in downtown Troy. That parade starts at 10 o'clock this Saturday. And if you want to be in the parade, call or go by and see the folks at the Pike County Chamber of Commerce on the square in downtown Troy, just catty-cornered across the way from Bird Drugs, and tell them you want to put a unit in the parade. I think the cost is just $10. To put a unit in the parade, and it's going to be a lot of fun to be a part of this wonderful weekend. And of course, parade starts right at 10 o'clock from downtown Troy. Approximately 15,000 people are expected to be in and around downtown Troy Saturday morning. Of course, you folks getting down there early, go by Bird Drugs. They're open for breakfast at 7. The parade starts at 10. And just a wonderful, wonderful atmosphere of homecoming at our own university. I say this, 1954 is the date that comes out to me when they first started this parade. And if you went to 2000, you know, you would have 46 days, 46 years. And then you add an 18 onto that, and you've got a 14 and a 6. How about 64 years? The 64th annual Troy University Appreciation Day Parade. And yours truly, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong here, will have the parade again for the last time. I think we were talking about Troy Cable and having the parade started back in 1980. Can you believe that? 1980, we've been bringing you the parade from downtown Troy, and it'll be the if it's 80, we're looking at 40. Well, shoot, it's not that long. It's about 38 years, and it's not that long. If we started in mid 80s, 15 and 18, but we're talking about over 30 years we've been bringing you the parade from downtown Troy. Steve, will it be on a will it be just taped or will it be live? It'll be live from downtown Troy, ladies and gentlemen. The 64th annual Troy University Appreciation Day Parade. We got a call coming in. Good morning. You're on Today in LA. That's Lower Alabama for you folks out west.
So you dressed up for Halloween this morning?
I'm dressed up for Troy University homecoming, but of course it is Happy Halloween. I'm glad you brought that to our attention, and of course there'll be trick-or-treaters all over the place tonight, and there was last night. All of the sororities had their houses open last night, and there were just parties all over this town getting ready for Halloween. Of course, tonight's the big night for Halloween, and we're looking forward to that. And of course, want all you folks to be extra careful when you're out on the streets, because there could be little ghosts and goblins running up and down your neighborhoods. You know, a lot of neighborhoods, they'll have their trick-or-treating for their neighborhood on a different day, and of course, again, tonight too. So there'll be more than one Halloween for a lot of folks.
Yeah, I know that Yuppie neighborhood Crow Hill used to do that. They were the first I remember.
Well, they did it for the real small children. What they did it for?
What happened was a lot of people would come to Crow Hill, and a lot of it wouldn't be neighborhood kids that would even get candy. People would run out of candy by early in the night.
And it was just so crowded, that's why a lot of them did that.
Then you had those people that were not too smart, but just put a bowl of candy out by their door.
Yeah, don't ever do that, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot of.
I mean, if somebody was going to be a fool and do that, I'd already have one jack-o'-lantern fill and go back and get my other one at the house.
And one thing around, it's also one time around. I can remember seeing a person come through, and then he'll come back through in another uniform, and then maybe another uniform. Sometimes maybe 3 times that same person would come by your house, but would be in a different costume.
Probably should be cut off around 13, 14. High school kids.
Hey, high school, shoot. I've seen 50-year-old men and women doing trick or treating. Yeah. Yeah, Halloween is fun, and let me just say this about Halloween, and we all look at it differently, but some people say, oh, I don't want to fool with Halloween, I don't want to give away candy, and I don't want to have to go back and forth to the door to answer the door and hear these trick-or-treaters. Some people are like that, they just don't like that. But think about this. Back when you were growing up, and caller, when you were growing up, wouldn't it have been make you feel awfully bad if people would just turn out their lights and not participate in Halloween? Look at it that way.
I've got a lot of close family members that do that, though. Unfortunately, turn
the
lights off and go downstairs.
Well, I've even heard of people turning on the sprinklers in the front yard. I've heard that.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea. Listen, the spirit of the thing is Halloween is to dress up like a ghost or goblin and go through the streets saying trick or treat, get your candy and move on.
Yeah, we've got a preschool parade I've got to go to today, and then they've got a costume party afterwards. Little Millie's going to be a little cowgirl.
Oh, is she?
And then Mary Prater's going to be a princess.
Well, she is a princess. I promise you that. She is a princess. And I know y'all are excited about that. And, of course, it's Mary Prater's first actual Halloween, isn't it?
It's
Millie's actual...
Millie just turned 1. So, yeah, this will be her first.
Yeah, that's going to be fun for her. I reckon. But again, don't you think it's a thing that all people ought to participate in? It's a national holiday of fun and frolic, and it should be clean and
actually,
nice.
A lot of places have costume contests where people can win money and prizes and stuff. It's actually a real big deal in college towns usually.
Oh, yeah, it is. And, of course, it's been going on all week long pretty much with different Halloween parties and so forth.
You had a MAC game last night, Buffalo, Miami, and Ohio. I didn't see who won, but there's a bunch of people in the stands wearing Halloween costumes.
Yeah. Well,
Tuesday night MAC football.
Yeah, no question about it. And, of course, it is Halloween, but do be careful if you're driving in the streets, and also... be nice to the trick-or-treaters, and you trick-or-treaters be nice to the people at their homes, and do it in a fun, pleasant way. Trick-or-treat, and it's been going on a long time. I know this when I was a kid. It was big. It was big to be able to go trick-or-treating and go through the neighborhoods, and it's a fun thing, and of course there'll be some people that'll just turn out their lights and not even participate, but then there'll be a lot of people that will participate by leaving their light on, and that's the way. If the light is on on the front porch, then they're participating. Go trick or treat. If the light is off, if the lights are off, they're not participating. So don't go to the front door. Is that right?
College football playoff rankings are out, and Alabama's number 1. Clemson's number 2. LSU is number 3, and Notre Dame is number 4. On the outside looking in with Michigan number 5 and Georgia number 6.
You know who everybody keeps saying is got the best, should be in it, and they think it's got the best team out there other than Alabama, is Oklahoma.
Yeah, well, they think they can maybe possibly get in a shootout with Alabama as well.
That would be a real shootout, but I think Alabama's defense is better than Oklahoma's.
Yeah, I think that as well.
But,
yeah. I'm trying to see if Auburn's in that top 25. They're not in that top 25.
I don't think they're in it. A win this weekend would probably put them back in it.
Yeah, Texas A&M is ranked 20th. Mississippi State's 18th. Kentucky is number 9. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I know, it is amazing.
Kentucky and Florida's number 11.
I think Kentucky is one-dimensional, don't you? Don't you think you can shut them down?
Well, yeah, you'd think so, but I mean, their defense is legit to shut Locke down. You know, they put up 65 points the week before against Memphis, and only scored 14 points against Kentucky the next week.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Stoops is a defensive-minded coach.
Oh yeah, no question about it. I need a little coffee here this morning, a little hot coffee on the show this morning.
A lot of people listening probably don't realize that, you know, Neil Brown was Stoops' offense coordinator at Kentucky his first couple of years.
That's right, no question about it.
The Troy job came open. He ended up replacing Neil Brown with another guy, but now Eddie Grand, the former Auburn running back coach that was at Auburn for years, is his offense coordinator.
I want to mention also the Salvation Army has their Camp Stew sale tomorrow, so I want everybody to remember that. You pick up your Camp Stew. A lot of you have already ordered it. It's just $10 a quart. It's wonderful Camp Stew. You can get as many quarts as you would wish. Best way in the world to give to the Salvation Army, Mike, is to buy 10 quarts of Camp Stew and give them a check for $100.
Yeah, that's really good Camp Stew, too.
And, of course, thank you so much, my friend. I tell you.
It's interesting. He was talking about Camp Stew and Brundrick Stew. Like I was telling my wife about Brundrick Stew the other day. She'd never heard of it.
Well,
I think Carter said that was out of Georgia is where Brundrick Stew came from.
Well, you know, there's people that talk about Brundrick Stew. I don't know what the difference is. I would think that, you know, Camp Stew would have pork and chicken and, you know, and sometimes they will put beef in there too with some people have potatoes and some people don't, but, you know, people who have tomatoes and potatoes and corn, you know, some people have butter beans and some don't, you know, whatever. But it's delicious, and let me tell you this, whatever they put in their Camp Stew at the Salvation Army, Carter Sanders is a pro at making Camp Stew, and they're going to make 600 quarts. So that means, ladies and gentlemen, 600 quarts. You should be able to get plenty. Let me tell you this. This is a good Christmas idea. Go ahead and buy 10 quarts and put it in your freezer. And during the holidays, maybe the week of Christmas or a few days even before Christmas, drop this by your neighbor's house with a little red bow on top of it and say Merry Christmas. And that quart of Camp Stew, frozen Camp Stew, will be delicious on during their Christmas holidays. Of course, I always think of Camp Stew, Mike, and chili and homemade soup and all that during cold weather time, and soon enough it's going to be cold weather time. So this would be a great gift for your neighbors or even your postman, is a nice quart of Camp Stew, of frozen Camp Stew for Christmas.
Yeah, I got emotional yesterday when I was at the grocery store and I saw eggnog on the shelves already.
I love eggnog too.
I like eggnog year-round.
I do too. I love eggnog too. And saw a good friend of mine, you know, Mike, that we used to spend all of our Christmases with, or at least Christmas Eve with. And he told me that he was going to send me a batch of his world-famous eggnog.
Yeah, I know.
And I'll tell you this: that eggnog is good with the real good ingredients, you know, that comes from usually the countryside.
Yeah,
And of course, it is delicious, and it's a part of Christmas. I want to mention, of course, football this weekend. Troy University goes head to head with what looks to be a very good Louisiana Lafayette team, Mike, a team that beat Arkansas State 47-43 this past weekend. They can score a lot of points. And Troy will be playing without one of their top players, and that's the outstanding youngster out of Enterprise. Jones will miss the game because of a shoulder injury. He leaped as high as you could leap, Mike, and pulled that interception down. But the sad thing was he came down on his shoulder and cracked his clavicle. So I'll tell you, and he'll be out. But hopefully down the stretch, Troy will get him back. The great wide receiver, Mike, is a game time decision, and he's quite a player, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought he had a severe injury, so actually Troy's pretty lucky when it comes to that.
Well, his turned out, instead of it being a knee injury, it was an ankle injury. And, hopefully, Terrence Dunlap, who's also an exciting player, can come over and take over that position, it looks like.
Well, I mean, Dunlap was one of the best players ever in 1A football. He played running back and played linebacker for Maplesville.
Yeah, a real good player.
It's kind of a slow transition for him to, get adjusted to Division I football and playing permanently on defense.
And
a guy there that can play wide receiver, and Jones can play wide receiver as well. Where are you gonna miss Jones more than anything is on kickoff return as well too.
Yeah, no question about it. He's a great player.
And they had him out there returning punts because Ruckert, unfortunately, had botched a couple of punts.
He was a preseason All-American coming in, and I guarantee you he'll be a preseason first-team All-American selection next year, I think.
I guess it depends on how many games Jones misses this year. It's going to be hard for Jones to get back, though. I would think a broken clavicle, he won't be back until probably Appalachian State, maybe that last game.
Yeah. Well, we can get him back, we'll be lucky. And, of course, now there's a couple of names you might have heard of that
Orlando Lacey, the kid out of Hops.
Yeah, you remember that great quarterback out of Hop, Orlando Lacey? He'll be there. Blaze Brown is also there, and so is Terrence Dunlap.
Blaze Brown's already a starter. I mean, Blaze Brown, I thought, was our best guy in the secondary coming into
Well, the injury occurred early in the second half, and the Trojans relied on Terrence Dunlap, Blaze Brown, and Orlando Lacey the rest of the way. With Jones out this week and possibly longer, those players will be looked at to fill the void once again. This creates an opportunity for the next guy, said head coach Neil Brown. Terrence Dunlap, Blaze Brown, those are guys that have to step up. We need some other guys, maybe Orlando Lacey and also Jawan McDowell, two other guys that are expected to play.
Jawan McDowell's a kid out of UMS Wright, which is a really good program.
Well, they look like they've got good players.
I don't remember our great safety playing this past weekend against Alabama. Murray, is he still hurt? The guy that's the big hitter
for Troy.
Yeah, Murray. He's the guy that's one of the best.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember him even playing against South Alabama.
Yeah.
He had been hurt too. Troy's got a lot of injuries.
Yeah, they do. And hopefully though they'll have them back. That was a pretty good stretch from Tuesday to Saturday. That really helped Troy a lot, having that long, that many days before they played again.
I tell you what, if you ever hear Sawyer Smith in interviews, he is one of the most confident guys you'll ever see in your life. I saw his interviews. Of course, he was excited the way he played in the first half and didn't play very good in the second half. But I tell you what, if it comes to confidence, there's no doubt.
I like that.
The quarterback.
Yeah, no question about it. Want to congratulate three Troy Super Bowl teams. Troy was well represented in the Wiregrass Youth.
What is this, in flag football or something?
Well, let me tell you about it. If you'll listen a little bit, Troy was a well represented this year in the Wiregrass Youth Football Association Super Bowls in Ozark over the weekend. The Troy 12 and under, 10 and under, and 8 and under made the trek to Ozark, and all three walked away with the championship, Mike. The 8 and under team knocked off Brundage 18-6. It was they were coached by Donovan Martin. The 8 and under consisted of 15 players, largely new to the game of football, and Martin said they played together and ended up bringing home the championship. The 8 and under picked up quickly, and Martin believes they'll even be better next year. So Martin also were joined by fellow coaches Shane Griffin, Casey Gooseby, and Kenny Hughes. The Trojans include the players include Tyron Harrison, Gregory Bradford, Marlon Greenwood, Carter Gooseby, Tayson Foster, Kyran Martin, Kevin Walker, Demetrius Fulton, Marcus Walker, Ja'Cory Knox, Kristen McBride, Coran Gales, Taylor Hughes, Savanya Scott, and Jamari McSwain. And that was makes up that 8th grade group. And the 10 and under defeated Ozark 12-7 in some of the other games played. And then of course the 12 and under team finished the season 5-1 with a 33-13 win over Ozark. So congratulations to all of these teams. And the 12 and under team, let's mention them. These are young men that won the championship. Michelle Mitchell, Jake Rogers, Derek Patterson. The players, those are the coaches. The players, you notice I mentioned Michelle Mitchell. She was one of the coaches. The players include Cameron Johnson, Dartavius Lee, Neil Lewis, Sawyer Keck, that's a great name, Britt Albritton, Jordan McBride, Meldrick Rogers, and Amon Rogers, Jaquavian Grimes, Antonio Patterson, Benjamin Patterson, Cameron Boykin, Isaiah Mitchell, Casey Morgan, Jack Glenn, Javier Armino, Brandon Arnett, Colby Richardson, Tamari Brantley, Brandon Holston, and J.J. Rogers. Micah, and then now I'm gonna call out some other names. Reason I'm calling out these names.
Rogers is pretty well the coach.
Well, I'll tell you this. I want all of these young people to be recognized. They won championships for our town this past weekend.
Super Bowls for termite peewee teams.
Well, they've started doing it, which I think is great. All right,
You could have been a Super Bowl winning coach.
Yeah.
You didn't even have it back when you were doing it.
All right, the 10 and under, coached by Donovan Martin, Scott Frakes, and Dustin Rodzon. The termite players include Peyton Bean, Jamaron Burney, Jadavian Burney, Tigarius Cunningham, Joshua Daniel, Brain Frakes. Isn't that a great name, Mike? Brain Frakes.
Don't you think instead of brain, it's a misspell?
No, I think it's his name. I like it. Brain Franks, Tristan Hobby, Michael. I don't think it's a bad name. Brain Franks, Tristan Hobney, Tyler Hobney, Hughes Oaks, Carrion Reynolds, Landon Roundzon, Elijah Wingard, Jamal Wright, and Tremaine Wright. So that made up that team of 10 and under. So again, congratulations to the Pee-wees of the 8 and under, 10 and under, and 12 and under teams from Troy, Alabama that went to Ozark and won the Super Bowl. So congratulations.
Will they get Super Bowl rings? How much is that going to cost?
I don't know, Mike. These are kids.
I know Shane Griffin was one of those coaches. He was a great player back in high school. He played defensive end. He was a starter for a couple of years on some of those Jeffco teams.
Of course, we got a lot of state playoffs coming up this week. We've got Charles Henderson in the stadium, which is a non-area game against a team from
Baldwin County.
Baldwin County, and they're real good. And that game is live on Troy Cable, starting at 6:45 this Friday afternoon.
Call that game?
Yes, I will be doing the game, play-by-play, and we look forward to that. Frank Scarborough will join me in the box. It should be a good football game, and we'll bring it to you live right here on Troy Cable. Troy Cable has gone out, Mike, and has got a great system set up to do games live from where they stand. I remember it all started back in the spring where we did championship baseball. One of the championship games was played in Tuscaloosa, and then the others were played in Montgomery, and all of them were brought to our fans live on Troy Cable Channel 2. So hopefully you'll enjoy that game Friday night.
Yeah, if anybody's want to know about Baldwin County, they opened the season beating Murphy 23-7. They beat Gus Shores 31-0. They lost to St. Paul's Episcopal 17-7, which is nothing to be ashamed of. They lost to Saraland 38-10. They lost to Blunt. Everybody knows how good Blunt is, 27-7. Huge win when they beat Daphne at Daphne 20-14. And this is a game that kind of scares you. They only got beat by Spanish Fort by 10-0.
Yeah.
And then they beat Robertsdale 31-8. They beat BC Rain 37-7. So they're 5-4 on the year, but that competition they play is pretty tremendous. So you got to think that they will be a big favorite to beat Charles Henderson.
Yeah, no question about it. It's going to be a great game, and I think it'll be a good game for Charles Henderson heading into the playoffs. They play their first round game of the playoffs in 2 weeks, Mike, at Ramsey in Birmingham. Tell us about Ramsey High School.
Well, I mean, Ramsey, rekindled their football program about 10 years ago. They didn't have football for probably 40 years, and all they did was recruiting a lot of inner-city Birmingham kids, and Ramsey is located in 5 points south where all the great restaurants in Birmingham are, and right next to my Episcopal church I go to, St. Mary's on Highland, and they actually don't have a football stadium. They actually have to go play all their games at Lawson Field.
All right, is that where they're going to play the game?
Yeah, which is near Irondale. It's like near the east side of Birmingham over there.
So they'll have to go to Lawson Field.
Or Hamburger Heaven. I know all the restaurants around that area near Lawson Field.
But and is it hard to get to Lawson Field?
No, it's right off the interstate. It's basically a Port of Madrid Boulevard off the interstate.
Yeah. Mike, we've got a real treat this morning. Coach Chandra Rigby, the head women's basketball coach at Troy University, is with us this morning, and we're going to talk to her and visit with her right after these messages.
Forevermark Diamonds. Beautiful, rare, responsibly sourced. Available at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry.
Check out these cool savings going on now during our hot summer sale at your local Troy and Ozark Road Mart. Like our $29.99 oil change special or our $129.99 brake special. We'll also keep you cool during these hot days of summer with our $29.99 AC special. So come see us and take advantage of these hot summer specials at your friendly Troy and Ozark Road Mart, where we've been serving our friends and neighbors all over the Wiregrass since 1974.
At Wiley Sanders Truck Line, we support our military. That's right, not a $1,000 sign-on bonus, but $1,200 sign-on bonus at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Thanks for your service. Thanks for your service. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, we support our military.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC, where we've gone pink, invites you to join us in the fight against breast cancer. Purchase any car, truck, or SUV in October, and we give $100 to fight breast cancer, as well as $100 to help those affected by Hurricane Michael. Get savings up to $17,000 on new Sierras and Silverados, and up to $12,000 on Yukon and Tahoes. Bill Jackson, where we've gone pink. A short drive from everywhere, with savings like nowhere else.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, and with us this morning, my good friend Shonda Rigsby, the head basketball coach at Troy University, the head women's basketball coach, and it's exciting for me to have her on because she's a hard lady to stop to stop running, because y'all practice mostly in the mornings, and that's when we're doing our show.
That's right. So we go at 6 a.m. on a lot of mornings, and so we're busy working while you're working.
And no question about it. And, of course, one of the great coaches in America today. Grab that mic right there, just the string right there, and pull that over there toward you. We've got you on this mic right here, but now we'll have you on both of them. Okay. Of course, Coach Rigsby is no stranger to the microphone, because you go for the mic every week with your press conferences and so forth. And I was able to catch her at a nice event last night, sponsored by Troy Bank and Trust Company.
That was fantastic. The Troy Bank and Trust crew are their family to us, and they're great supporters of Troy Athletics. And once a year we get together with them and kind of have a night where we have a dinner together and just get to fellowship together. And last night was our night. It was a great event.
Very impressed. And, of course, basketball season is just right around the corner. In fact, you play when?
Tomorrow night. We open up with an exhibition game against West Florida, so that's kind of a warm-up game. It's free to the public. It's at 6 p.m. in Trojan Arena, so a lot of great things will be going on in there. But our first actual real game, where it counts on our record, is against Florida State.
Yeah.
We ended up season 14 in the nation last year. We go to Tallahassee next week.
Boy, that's a tough opener. But you want that. That's right. You want that. Hey, when you step out on the court, you expect to win, don't you?
We definitely expect to win. We expect that to be a great moment in Trojan women's basketball history.
Now, and it's hard to realize that it's 7 years now since you walked into, you and your family came to Troy, Alabama, and you became the women's basketball coach at Division 1A Troy. And since then, you have won 2 conference championships.
Yes.
You went to the national playoffs twice. Is that right?
Right. National tournament twice.
And and you couldn't ask for really any more. Other than going all the way to the top.
Well, listen, we're blessed. We're blessed. We came there with a vision to just to do something very different, special in Troy women's basketball. You got to call in here.
Yeah, we'll get it here.
Okay.
You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
I'm good, Mike. It's Max.
Max, good to hear from you today. Right now, I've got Coach Shonda Rigsby, the head basketball coach, women's basketball coach at Troy. This is Max Howell, Coach.
Hi, Max.
One of the well-known sports prognosticators. I would call you a prognosticator.
I didn't do too well last week, though.
Yeah. But Coach, we're talking to her, Max, and we would love to have you to be with us on the conversation. Of course, you know all about women's basketball is a very big sport in this country, and she has been the head basketball coach here at Troy for the last 7 years. But she came out of a area of the country that you know a lot of. Of course, she's originally from Louisiana, but she spent a lot of time in Pensacola, Florida.
Yes.
And you know that area pretty well, don't you?
Well, I spent several years. I was the head coach at Gulf Place High School, offensive coordinator with Emmett Smith and Emmett at Escambia. I coached at Niceville, Bay High, and Panama City, and FSU.
So did you coach there when Emmett was there playing?
Oh, yeah, he was his coach.
Okay, so my husband is Ed Rigby, who was at Tate High School while Emmett was there, and he was
right. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. And now he's the head coach at Eufaula High School.
Ed left there, went to Elba, and did outstanding things at Elba, and now he's at Eufaula. He's the head coach at Eufaula.
Well, that's dear to my heart. Born and raised in South Alabama, and graduated from Troy in the early '60s. And of course, Mike knows the rest of the history. It's been a good run. I was very fortunate in my career having Emmett Smith at Escambia and Deion Sanders at Florida State. Not many folks could have that privilege.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
No question about it. And of course, Chandra, let's give everybody a little idea of how you got started. And you came out of high school in Louisiana. Is that right?
Right. So I grew up on a dairy farm, and my dad, this is the love of basketball started right here. My dad told us all, my brothers and everybody, whoever doesn't have sports practice after school needs to come home and milk. So, basketball was about the only thing going for women's sports, so I tried out for football at that moment. And I tell my brothers all the time, I took 2 of their starting positions in football before they told me I couldn't play football. I was so determined not to go home and milk, but I found a way to make basketball a year-round sport, and loved it ever since. Worked at it. Wasn't very talented, but got a college scholarship to Louisiana College, and just followed on through. So I've been in Louisiana. Once I graduated from college, I met my husband, who's a football coach. He's from Pensacola, Florida. And I think we've been in 7 different states coaching, trying to build our careers. We started out as high school coaches. That's what he prefers. Even though he's been college coach, he prefers high school. And I'm living my dream getting to coach at Troy University.
People are going to be surprised when I say this. You know, when women's basketball started really coming around big, one of the top programs in the country was Delta State.
Delta State, that's
you
where
remember
I learned
that?
the
Delta State women basketball. Did you realize that? They were one of the first strong women's basketball teams in the South, wouldn't you say?
Before they divided out all the divisions, they won the national championship, and they did it with a run and jump defense. It was very progressive. It's actually the same defense we run today.
That's the reason I mentioned that. Troy, you get a lot of the way you do things from that great program.
And the other great program at that time was Louisiana Tech in Ruston.
Yeah.
And those 2 were the programs that spent a lot of time.
That's where you went, wasn't it?
Well, no, I worked all year, though, like when I was in high school, trying to raise enough money, cleaning out dog pens and everything else, trying to get money to go to those camps.
Yeah.
But I went and learned from those coaches back in the day. Yeah.
Now she is a guru, and I say this, Max, more than anything. You know, if you started talking about coaches that could score and score big in football, what teams would you think of? You'd probably think of Oklahoma, and you'd probably think of
Tony Franklin.
You know, all these coaches. She said something at an event that I was at last night, that before she goes on the court with her team, she expects her team to try to score 120 points every time they go out on the court. Can you believe that?
No, that's great motivation.
Right.
I'm sitting right here 40 miles from Mississippi State, which, by the way, has been right at the top in D1 for quite a while now.
They got something special going on, no doubt, no doubt. We played them in the NCAA tournament a couple of years. I joked with their head coach. We gave them the fire to go on and make it to the Final Four, because we hung with them really well in the first quarter. But when he subbed and we subbed, the game got out of control. But he's built something extremely special over there at Mississippi State.
They really do.
We're talking to Chandra Rigsby, the head women's basketball coach at Troy, and Max, as much as we love football and basketball, is here with us. And Troy, you open up at Florida State when?
Next week on the 6th of November, and tomorrow night we open up the exhibition game at home. So anybody in Troy, come out. It's the best show in town for the money. It's free, and it's going to be a great showing. But we open up at Florida State the next week.
There's something you said last night that really got to me. You said that this might be the best group you've ever coached at Troy or anywhere else. And that anywhere else, you've coached some great players.
Yes.
And you even said that maybe as good as anybody we've ever put together as a team. That says a lot. You must have really gone out and recruited some players.
Well, Courtney Simmons is our recruiting coordinator. She's the best in this business, and I'm not shying away from that. She is the best in the business.
Did you hear that, Max? If your head coach can say you got the best recruiter in the business, you're home free.
You look like a lot of better coach then at that point. So really, that's what I've always been known for, is not necessarily being the greatest coach on the court. A lot of coaches get out there can out-coach me, but
you mean when y'all have a timeout, you can't grab that board and you sit down and hey, I see all of this stuff going on. And I said, look, all this guy's doing is confusing these folks.
Listen, but what I do have is a great assistant staff. I've got Neil Harrow doing my special situations. He's a guy we brought here. He's from Scotland.
I like him. He's a fine young man.
He's sharp, and he knows his stuff. So he's the one who grabs that clipboard and draws up our special situations. Yeah. Jennifer Graff, I coached her in high school. She's a blessing to be around every day. She's our associate head coach. She just does everything for our program, keeps us organized. She runs practice. She does everything. And then Courtney is our other one. She's our recruiting coordinator. And just last week, she said, coaches, I want y'all to clear your schedule for the next 24 hours. We got a 10-hour ride, and signing day's coming up next week, and We got in a car, and I guess I can't reveal all the facts, but we drove basically 10 hours there and watched her practice and drove 10 hours back to try to persuade a young lady who's 6th in the nation to sign with Troy. And honestly, I mean, I don't want to not have faith, but honestly, I thought that was a long shot. But we got back home and realized through her coach that she had committed to Troy University, in fact.
Oh, man.
But it was a straight there, straight back.
And, you know, you build a program, and, of course, you have definitely built a program here at Troy, and Troy is known throughout the South thanks to you and your staff in college women's basketball. But, and you have created quite a name for yourself. You know, if somebody would say, and I was sitting over here in Mississippi or Louisiana or Texas or wherever, and they mentioned Chandra Rigby's name, the first thing that would come to your mind was they score a lot of points.
Right.
And that's your key now. You want to play good defense, but what you want to do, you want to outscore folks.
We definitely want to outscore folks.
Well, you do. Well, people laugh at home. Yeah, sure. But what I'm saying, you want to score a bunch of points.
No, we want to do it in a way that nobody else has done it before. Yeah. Again, we strive to score 15 points every 5 minutes, and we work on that every day in practice, having our ladies figure out what do you have to do to be able to score 15 points every 5 minutes, and that includes a lot of offensive rebounds, which we led the entire nation in offensive rebounding last year. The entire nation, Troy University was #1. Because if you think about it, if you get that rebound right there and put it back up, you don't have to run to the other end and play defense. That takes too much time.
Exactly.
So offensive rebounding, scoring when the clock is stopped, which is free throws. A lot of things we do to get our players acclimated to scoring at that pace. Because if you do the math, 15 points every 5 minutes comes out to 120 points in a game. So we've only reached that a couple of times since I've been at Troy. I think this year, hopefully, we have a better chance of doing it more often. But in striving for that really high goal, look where we fell. We've led the Sun Belt Conference every year we've been here for 6 years. This is our 7th. We've led them in scoring all 6 years, and we were at the bottom. They only averaged 39 points a game before we got here.
But it's not that y'all pressure the court all the time.
We do a great deal.
Is it the old UCLA press defense?
No.
You remember that, Max?
Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, I'm just listening.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm wanting to get back to the recruiting part because that's what I did for about 20 years.
Exactly. Well, what I want to hear more than anything, though, is it old Notre Dame, old UCLA box press?
No, not necessarily. The press is more like the one you talked about at Delta State, the run and jump. But we do have a very unique defense, and it's worth, if any basketball fans out there, to come see. We run a defense that's very unique. That's the complete opposite of every man-to-man principle you've ever learned. It's very unique, and it's actually helped win us a couple championships because coaches do not practice against it. You can't emulate it if you don't know it, and not a lot of coaches run it. It's a zone defense, actually in the half court. That's very unique. Yeah.
Let me say, there's a lot of stats. You say, oh, God, there's a stat for this and that, and stat for that. There's no real stat that I've seen for the inbound pass. Defending the inbound pass. Mm-hmm. Do y'all do a pretty good job of that?
Yes, Coach Graff coaches that, and it is denial. As soon as we score, that's a skill we teach: is you turn around and you deny your man, so you don't get an easy pass in.
Do y'all defend the person, the out of bounds player, or do y'all go man go man to man?
That's something we're thinking about doing every now and then. But we are man to man. But right now, that inbounds person sometimes our safety valve because everybody else is denying.
Will you hear any with Coach Maestri and
y'all?
I know y'all real. They defended the inbound pass as well as anybody I've ever seen.
Okay.
I watched his teams all those years, and of course, where were you when you heard that Troy scored 258 points? Did you think that was a prank? Did you think it was a prank?
Yeah, but I was so fortunate to get to work with them 1 year.
Thanks. You remember when Troy scored 258 points?
I was sitting in the stands with him at Smith that night.
You were.
You were there, and I was there too. It was a middle afternoon game, and Emmett used to come up here all the time. He used to date one of the trainers. Is that right? Yeah.
That's right.
Wow. Well, that's incredible. Yeah, so Coach Maestri, I actually got to talk to him about that night many times because he knows how interested I am about scoring a lot of points. And he's explained that night to me so much about how both teams were scoring and how hard they were running the floor. And
the big key to all of it was they made 52 out of 106 three-pointers, which is just mind-boggling to think about that. What's the most three-pointers that your teams have ever scored?
The most we've scored, I think,
in one game.
One player, I think, scored 12 one time.
That was phenomenal.
But we have a gal that you need to come out and see right now, Tyra Johnson. She's from Alabama, but she started out at Auburn. And the other night when we had Trojan Madness, I think she hit 17 three-pointers in 45 seconds or something like that. So
that's almost a record, isn't it?
And I've never seen her have a bad day in Trojan Arena yet, like at practice. She hasn't had an off day yet. So there's another reason to come out and watch us play. Tyra Johnson, she's from Alabama, and she is probably going to be one of our best three-point shooters we've ever had.
Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, and of course we got a great schedule coming up, but something different, probably for the first time ever in women's college basketball, is you won't be having what we call the double headers anymore, which I sort of hate.
Oh, I really hate. Troy fought hard
what was
in those
the
Sun
reason
Belt
behind
meetings
this?
against that. Because we feel like at Troy, we don't only have football fans or men's basketball or women's basketball. We have Troy fans. Our Troy fans want to support all sports. We're Trojans one and all. So when that came up in the Sun Belt Conference, a few coaches really wanted to separate the games out and have women have their own night and men have their own night.
Is this strictly a conference room?
It's a conference room.
Golly.
Yeah, so it's not popular at all in Troy. Not with the coaches. I don't believe it's popular with the administration.
But see, it's a good draw. The fans, it's a good way to draw fans when you play a doubleheader.
Right, and see, look what an advantage that is for us. First of all, we have built a fan base that comes to the game. We want it. We want more. We want more to come because it helps. We went 11-1 at home last year with a very young team because we had that home court advantage.
Yeah,
we need
which
more
was unreal.
Right. So, but what happens is you get in that fourth quarter and more people are filling in for the men's game, and they're there, they're cheering for you, and it makes it hard to lose. Now we've lost that. We're not going to have the double headers.
How long would that be? Will it just be on a yearly basis?
It's a 2-year rule. However, I have seen the Sun Belt implement a 2-year rule and come back and reverse it at the end of the year if it wasn't a good idea. So that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. Well, but now that means you're gonna have a lot of basketball in Troy. I mean, what I'm saying, you're gonna be playing at home, and the men be playing on the road, or vice versa, or both teams be playing at home, and we want to get all these folks to come out and watch your team play.
Right. When we're on the road, the men are here. When the men are here, we're on the road. So it's like if you love basketball, that's great. But if you need a break sometimes, you're not going to have a break. We need you to still come out to all the games.
Of course, 7 years, and of course, let me just mention this. You came here with a husband who's a pretty good football coach.
Yes.
And of course, he's the head football coach at Eufaula High School. Max, you know all about that. And y'all were quite a combination, and he's won where he's been. And how do y'all work around all that? Then you had a son that was a great quarterback at Elba High School.
Yes, and we have a son that's at Troy, not playing sports, but he's a business-minded guy and getting his degree, and we're proud.
He's going to be the rich one in the family.
I think
is that right?
I hope so. But I don't know where that came from. But so my husband's a football coach. Been married over 26 years. I don't know how people who aren't both coaches make it in the coaching profession because you have to have somebody who really understands that time commitment. And so, it's been 26 years of a lot of give and take and a lot of joy and being in a lot of kids' lives.
Well, I tell you what, everybody loves you. Both, and of course, y'all have really made a name for yourself in Troy. And, of course, to open up the Sun Belt, of course, preseason, you're picked number 2 preseason. Now, who in the world is a team that you think is one of the best you've ever coached and ever put together? Somebody must be pretty good that has been predicted to be number 1. Who's that?
Joe Foley over at Arkansas Little Rock. He's earned his first place ranking, though. He's such a phenomenal coach. He's the exact opposite of me. If he has a 2-hour practice, an hour and 45 minutes spent on defense with him, and it's the opposite with us. It's offense. So we both stress 2 different things. He is the veteran coach in this league. He did win the championship last year. We lost to him by 3 points on sort of a buzzer shot at the end of the game last year, which I thought was great because we went down the turn. We had 7 healthy players at that point, starting 3 freshmen. So he got picked number 1. That's just enough to give us a little chip on our shoulder to make us work a little bit harder every day.
Now, all of these good players, where did they come from?
We have 6 of our 14 are from here in Alabama.
Now, when you first got here, that wasn't the case, was it?
Right. So
it was hard to find good players out of Alabama. Georgia's full of them, wasn't they?
Yep, Georgia, yes. And
they started. I used to officiate women's basketball, and back in the '80s, guys, women's basketball had just started in probably the late 70s and 80s here in Alabama. They've been playing it for years and years over in Georgia.
But again, I'm not really able to comment because of NCAA rules. But if you just look around at the level of high school talent in this area, it's amazing. We have some top 25, top 50 players in this area in Alabama. So we haven't gotten them all. Some of them have gone other places.
Now, can I mention can I mention a school and not a name?
You can mention whoever.
Well, there's a school right here in Alabama called Charles Henderson High School that has some of the finest players in the country.
Absolutely. And so the one that, one of them, well, actually there's a couple of them that are going to be seniors that are committing and signing on early signing day, but just some big name
I think
players.
one of them is committed to Air Force and the other one to Rutgers, of all people. Where in the world did that come from?
I don't know where that came from, but we're proud of them. I mean, of course, we know these girls coming, growing up, know them and some of their parents. And
that's a great.
What a great opportunity.
Yeah, that's a great gesture for you. You're just concerned about that young lady.
Absolutely. They're going to have
I'm sure you'd love to see her come to Troy.
Would have loved to see her come to Troy, but you know what? We're pulling for her.
Max, how many times can you remember over the years that you'd have one player that created a dynasty, like at Jacksonville University when they got this Moses Malone, the kid from Florida that went to Jacksonville University, and Jacksonville University ended up going to the Final Four. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
It wasn't Moses Malone. It wasn't Artis Gilmore. Artis Gilmore.
Every coach strives to find that great nugget to build.
But what I'm saying, sometimes that one player, take Pistol Pete Maravich, nobody even knows who the other guys were that played by him, but I can tell you who they were. One of them was Apple Sanders, and the other one was of course, Maravich. But it was Apple Sanders, and what was the other guy? I'm trying to remember the other guy's name. No, Fig Newton. Fig Newton and Apple Sanders were the other two guys that were good on that team.
And I'm from Louisiana. Did
you
ever see Maravich play?
Yeah, and I've watched his films a lot and talked to people.
Yeah, wasn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, it was unreal.
He did mostly against the wall. Yeah. Everything he did, he learned by throwing the ball against the wall.
Unbelievable.
Isn't that unreal?
Work ethic.
Because
creativeness.
That was when there wasn't anybody in the gym with him, and he had to throw it to somebody, didn't he?
That's a great example.
Throw it to the wall. Yeah. Exactly. And of course, you have done a great job recruiting. You have made a great name for yourself in basketball in this area, and most all these kids that grow up around here, say, "I'd like to play with Coach Rigby over at Troy."
Oh, what an honor!
But tell me how you put together this recruiting, this team that you think it might be the best you've ever had, and that's saying a lot.
Well, thank you. We have a great base. Again, we really probably only missed a three-peat championship by a 3-point buzzer shot at the end of the year last year, and we had 3 freshmen that played many minutes as anybody. So that was a young team. And so
you had 2 years ago, you had probably your favorite, your best player ever. What was her name?
Well, we've had 2 that are playing pro right now, which are Ashley Beverly Kelly and Caitlin Ramirez.
Yeah, both of them. Beverly Kelly was a great player.
She's just phenomenal.
I know, but what I'm saying, all right, so you had those 2 phenomenal players, and then you had to go out and recruit some other players.
Yeah. So once you get some, I would say, franchise players like that, it's easier to go out and you're doing things, you're winning championships. You can go recruit a different level player, and it doesn't hurt to have Neil Brown on the football team over there, beating the LSU's and beating the teams on TV. So now we're becoming a household name. We're sitting down in people's homes, and instead of saying, "Have you ever heard of Troy?" and they say no, and I have to explain it. They go, "Oh, we saw your football." Yeah. So that helps. We're one Troy. It all helps.
I remember sitting at a blackjack table in Las Vegas, Nevada, and somebody asked me a lot of times where I go. This was the ring that Troy won when they went in 2002. When they first made it to the NCAA playoffs.
Wow.
And they played Xavier. They played them in Nashville. Well, this was the ring that they got, which is a beautiful ring.
Love it.
Well, I was sitting there, and a guy said, across the table said, "Where's that ring from?" I said, "Troy." That's all I had to say. He knew Troy.
There you go.
Hey, listen, real sports people know exactly where Troy is located because of the
success of football. And Dr. Jack Hawkins had that, that vision. He says that your athletics, that's the front porch of your university. So yes, there are more important things in athletics. That the fact that we need to fund our science programs, we need to do this, and do the integral parts to make a great university. But what people are going to see is what's on ESPN.
Exactly right. Max, all the places you've been, all the players you have coached and so forth, Troy's success in Division 1A has enhanced your credibility, don't you think?
I don't think there's any doubt, Mike.
I mean, when you tell them, you say, "Well, I played at Troy and I coached at Troy," that word Troy is pretty well known all over the country now.
Well, I'm sitting up here in North Mississippi with the biggest radio station in the market, and who do we have on? We have you on.
Yeah.
Troy Sports.
Exactly
right.
No,
I don't think it, and I was listening.
I was sitting in Rotary the other day, got a phone ring. I said, "Oh gosh, that's Max calling. I better get out of here."
You go back and look, Mike, and I take so much pride in all the things you guys were just talking about. I was fortunate enough to help coach that First National Championship team there. That opened the door to Troy University, where that athletic.
Oh, no question about it. The early team on that Billy Atkins.
Yes,
we honored him just recently, and Max was one of the coaches. He was the offensive coordinator on that team.
Very exciting, Max. Good, you got a great resume going for you.
But of course it helped you get in with some pretty good programs. And he was a recruiting guy. Now you were the recruiter at Ole Miss. You were the recruiter at Florida State at one time. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I was fortunate. Coach, I don't never claim to be very smart, but I can tell you what I could read a roster and tell you what the players were.
I like it.
And I usually ended up there.
Who was your head coach at Ole Miss?
Billy Brewer was the head guy. I was
See,
the coordinator, and I coached special teams.
And he's one of the first guys to really go into the Mississippi junior colleges for football players.
And look, I was a junior college coach there in Mississippi at Holmes Community College. My husband was a football coach, and
I lived in Fulton, where the Wamba is.
Yes.
And we carry every sport on our radio station that Edawamba does. We have an exclusive with them.
Hey.
Well, like tonight's a big night in Mississippi. Tomorrow night's a big night because every Thursday is when they have their games.
Right.
Mississippi.
Yeah.
Right.
All the football we do, but we only do 13 home basketball games for them. We're going to do softball and baseball in the spring, all live, broadcast on the biggest radio station in North Mississippi.
That's
They
great.
just started that, and he put it together.
That is fantastic. That is great.
Of course, you heard that her husband at one time was the offensive coordinator at Jackson State. He was also the head football coach at Holmes.
Yeah, and he's been at several high schools there, Northwest Rankin.
But what I'm saying, you probably have known who he was. Isn't that right?
I'm sure we probably crossed paths, during the
no
years.
question about it.
Of course, I was in Atlanta for 11 years. That was.
You put together
that was my downfall. That's what took me out of coaching. After I spent 30 years on the field, I went to Atlanta and created the first sports talk show in Atlanta.
I bet she's heard it before. Name that. What was it called?
It was 680 The Fan.
The Fan. See, out of Atlanta. That was, believe it or not, it was the only real sports talk show in Atlanta area, and that was unreal, Max.
Yeah, Mike, I'm leaving in the morning. They're having their 25th anniversary. They're honoring me and about 3 other guys that helped create that station.
Yeah, he trained Buck Ballou. Buck Ballou's big in the sports talk radio. Buck Ballou got his first job from you, didn't he?
Exactly right. Buck's color analyst now for the Georgia Bulldogs, and he's going to do a show Friday that take off to Kentucky, try to get them through that game against Kentucky this weekend.
Well, I'm glad to get to meet you, even if it's over the phone and over the air today. You got some great sports history behind you.
What's the most points that you've ever scored in one game?
130.
130. That was something.
So we got a long way to go to catch Coach Maestri.
Wasn't that the most unbelievable thing in the world? But at one time, though, I mean, that phenomenal figure, though, 52 3-pointers out of 106 has got, I don't know if that'll ever be broken, that many threes, but it's just according to how hot you got. Everybody said there was no defense, but at the same time, somebody had to put the ball in the hoop. And most of them, you think about it, 50 3-pointers, that's 150 points right there.
Isn't that great? That has to be fun to watch.
Exactly. But now you don't do it with 3-pointers. You do it with fast break. Is that right?
Well, I know the system that he had. It's called rebound and scatter, which is whenever you got a rebound, instead of putting it back up under the goal, everybody scatters on the perimeter and you kick it out to another 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
And I'd love to do that eventually.
And that's what Westfall, the guy in California, started with those teams. That what his name was, Westfall, or he coached at one of them, those two basketball schools out there. I can't remember off the bat, but that's where he got the offense. You know?
Oh yeah. We watched the same.
Loyola Marymount.
Yes, absolutely.
Loyola Marymount. You remember that?
Yes.
I remember. Yeah.
That's where Maestri got all that information from there, and what a great coach he was. And,
goodness, and a great man.
But anybody love to shoot the ball now. Let me tell you this: Maestri's teams were the only teams I've ever seen, Coach, that you got pulled if you didn't take the shot. You know, how many basketball players out there said, well, if I shoot the long three, she's going to jerk me. If I miss it, she's going to jerk me. Well, at Troy, if you don't shoot the three back in Maestri's day, he would pull you out.
That's a player's dream right there.
Yeah, and so like you have a certain type program that enhances your recruiting and wants kids wanting to come here, and of course winning and your attitude and all that has a lot to do with it. But if you do want to shoot three, or if you do want to score a lot of points and play a lot of defense, you want to come to Troy, don't you?
Right. The only bad shot is the one you pass up.
So that's your strategy too, isn't
for
it?
sure. For sure.
Well, I tell you what, I've seen a lot of games, and like I said, I officiated college basketball a long time, and your enthusiasm and your class.
Thank you.
And that has a lot to do with it. You know, a lot of basketball coaches don't have much class. Is that right, Max? You know what I'm saying? Those are the yellers and screamers the whole ball game, you know, and so forth. You know, you look like you do things in class.
Spills over, man, from the recruiting all the way to the last deal.
Yeah.
Coach knows that. I mean, I've seen a lot of guys with really great personality, might be a little shy on X's and O's, but the fact is he could recruit them and get them there and then let them play.
Right.
Exactly
That's more my style.
Exactly right. No question about it. No question about it. So you get started. First game is this Tuesday. It's going to be a free to the public. You'll be playing a
Division II. That's tomorrow night.
On
Tuesday we're going to play at Florida State.
And then at Tuesday is the big game at Florida State. You know, that's not a bad drive. That's not a bad drive to Tallahassee. You made that drive many times from Troy to Tallahassee, or from Tallahassee to Troy, haven't you, Max?
Oh yeah, no doubt. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, when I left Troy, I was headed. Quick story. I was headed to Florida State to interview for the linebacker job, and the head guy on the way down, I heard the announcement he had just resigned and taken a job at Houston, Texas. So I just turned around and came on back home with Atlanta.
Well, that's amazing. There's a story behind it all, and of course, you have built quite a reputation, and evidently you're what they call a player's coach.
Yeah, well.
I mean, I know you're tough. I know you're strict on tough.
Not really.
All right, but
I get to be the good cop.
Did you hear her up front, Max? What she said? She had 4 assistant coaches.
Yeah, 3 assistants.
3 assistants, and all 3 have a certain thing that they do. One of them is a recruiter. One of them is a
special teams
coach. And then what would be
the other
the
one's
third?
the associate head coach, and she really does everything you can imagine. She runs practice. Yeah. She keeps us organized and that kind of thing.
And of course, the chemistry is really good here at Troy. And and for you to come right out and say this might be the best team you ever coached. You'll find out a lot about them tomorrow night.
Right.
And the folks, you gonna try to score a lot of points tomorrow night?
We are.
How many? At least 100.
I'd rather score a lot on Florida State, that first one that counts. We're just trying to work on some things tomorrow night, but So we'll see. It'll be a great time.
Max, I know you've heard this many times before. Have you ever gone out there though and it looked like there was a top to the rim? to the goal. I mean, like the ball will not fall. I mean,
we don't like to talk about that. We don't like to talk about that.
All right, what is the longest you have ever gone without scoring a point? Have you ever thought about that?
Yes, it's probably, we hit some of those times early on here at Troy. We did. We went 4 or 5 minutes without scoring one time, and that's just not what we're trying to do.
Exactly. Now, there was a coach in Ozark, Cecil Skinner, and everybody knows who I'm talking about, one of the great coaches. You remember Cecil Skinner?
Oh, yeah, he was on the staff when I was there.
All right, and back then, everybody wasn't running zone, but those that did had a headache because he would get right in their face and say, no.
Oh, I like it.
Have you ever heard that?
No, but I might use it.
Well, let me tell you something. That's what he did. No. And I'm the guard now, and this guy's in my face. No.
Yeah, don't practice against that
Let me
again.
get rid of this ball.
Okay.
But that's how they played it.
Might be a late game adjustment tomorrow.
That's right. And get in their face and say, no. To talk about basketball in general, and we talk about the great one from Brantley, what a great player he was, and of course he's no longer at Troy. But the thing that impressed me more than anything about him was, as many points as he scored, most of the time when he shot the ball, there was somebody all over him. It was very rarely did he ever just have a stand-up, clear shot. Mm-hmm. There was always somebody in his face. That made him an even greater scorer, if you'll think about it, because most all of his shots were contested.
Yeah. And
have you ever had a girl like that too?
We have. My first year here, we had Joanna Harden, who came from Northwest Florida Community College, and she scored 53 points our first night out in Trojan Arena. But she was that kind of player.
I remember that.
Before the end of the year, there were 2 or 3 on her a night, but that comes from confidence. That comes from a calm within, I think, that being able to do that. And Wesley Person would be a person to have that calm within. Yeah. Great guy.
But have you ever, no stat on that the shot he made was contested because they were. I don't know if it was that he might have lacked the quickness or the ability, or they covered him that tight that he always.
Well, he was the main shooter on the floor, so they shaded towards him all the time.
So that makes him even a greater shooter.
Yeah, you're right.
Done what he did with all those people hanging all over him.
Right. And speaking of Brantley, Alabama, on the front of our cards, I know y'all might not can see this, is another Brantley star, Amani Upshaw, is one of our 3 seniors. The fans didn't get to really see what she could do.
You guys from Brantley ought to come to every ball game.
They do. They come. We appreciate our Brantley folks. But she was injured last year. She had a bad surgery over the summer that she didn't quite heal from, so we didn't get to see her at her best last year. But people are going to be really surprised at what this young lady is prepared to do. She's been in the system for 4 years now. She knows what to do better than anybody else on the floor. She's a great leader, great person. Come out and see Amani Upshaw from Brantley, Alabama.
Yeah. Let me tell you another thing, talking about Brantley, Alabama. Troy's got a quarterback coming out of junior college ranks that is committed to Troy at quarterback next year. But there's a softball player right now, the pitcher, the great pitcher, came from Brantley, Alabama. Boy, Brantley, so at softball, they got one of the top players is from Brantley. Your team, one of the top players is from Brantley. Of course, the kid we lost, the great
Alex, and I'm sure Max is familiar with her. That was at Mississippi State playing.
You remember that young lady, that Max?
No, I be honest with you, I didn't keep up.
All right, what were you talking about?
Football coach Mike is 24/7, the year round. And I ran the recruiting office, and I'm telling you, during basketball season, I was on the road. 95% of the time.
Yeah, I got you.
So, I was talking to the softball coach. We were out doing an event with them last night, Trunk or Treat. We were passing out candy.
That was fun, wasn't it?
That was very fun.
Boy, that was a lot of people in that area last night, wasn't it?
It's such a great time, because up on Sorority Hill, that was kind of the trick or treat for the faculty and staff of Troy, their kids, and then just generally open to the public was on the softball field. The softball does a great job. They let us join in this year, but the softball coach and I were talking about that. How is Brantley, Alabama such a small place, but yet so many major Division I players come out of there? Every year they roll one or two out.
We call it Title Town. We call it Title
it's
Town.
Amazing. It's amazing.
And when they come
and
from,
they're great kids.
A lot of them come to this little old town called Dozier that gave up football. You remember that, Max?
Oh, yeah. I do very well, Dozier.
Of Dozier, Alabama. Let me say one thing, and I'll let you go. Y'all talked about that, and you hit on this in your tongue. The chemistry on this Troy University staff in athletics has to be next to none.
Look, we could do a couple shows on the chemistry on this staff. First of all, for from somebody on the inside, I'm just going to tell you, I work with some of the best men. We have mostly men, of course, but we also have the softball coaches, the head softball coach is female, but these are true gentlemen. These are men who are concerned about forming men in the locker room.
Yeah.
They're passionate about it. They're convicted about it. And the closeness on this staff, all the way down, the track coaches, everybody, soccer, volleyball, these are quality people we have.
Yeah.
And I think I've thought about how did Dr. Hawkins get so many quality people on this coach staff? I think that somewhere down deep, that is his priority, is to get people that are going to mold other young people and who have a passion for that, not only winning games.
And Max, you know more about this than almost anybody. Everything always comes to the top, and it all starts with the chancellor. And I think all these coaches realize that they've got his support. I mean, he the number one guy on this campus is going to support the athletics. He's going to support band, whatever is good for Troy.
Listen, when I'm out in gyms recruiting and there's hundreds of other coaches there and I have colleagues that I can speak to, I never get the feeling I just don't feel all the time that they feel about their school and their chancellor and their colleagues the way that we do. I'm not saying anybody feels badly about them, but we love each other and we support each other. I think Neil Brown, other than my husband and I and my staff, Neil Brown's the next one in line wanting us to win. He's really there for the basketball. Phil Cunningham, we're for each other. Yeah. It's just a special time to be a Troy Trojan.
Ain't no question about it. And of course now this is going to be a little different now, playing these games separately instead of having the double headers. But that means more than anything, we need to get out and support women's basketball.
We really need to get out and support women's basketball. I think you'll be blessed by it. It's something special. We're playing for high causes, and we have high goals.
And I tell you, a great schedule, a great fall schedule, and of course, then we'll have the winter schedule. And people don't realize how many road trips you have, but it is amazing to me where you get started. Of course, Florida State. Well, we've got the game tomorrow night right here in Troy
6 p.m.
against
Trojan
West
Arena.
Florida. And then on November the 6th, we're on the road at Florida State. Then we come back on November the 12th and 16th with Stanford and Tennessee State, two good programs there. So, we hope they will have a big crowd for those games. And then back on the road, all of East Tennessee, Sam Houston, Mississippi Valley, and then back here for Alabama State, Middle Tennessee, and Talladega. And then we go on the road in December to Ole Miss, Jacksonville State. Coastal Carolina is quite a trip that you got to go.
Yeah, that's a tough trip because we turn around and play Appalachian State on that.
That's right, and all the conference games start coming in, and it's just going to be a huge year for
as you're reading that, Mike. I'd love to come back sometime because as you read through that, I'd love to come back and talk to you about because people aren't aware that we do so much community service here in Troy, but on the road we do community service. And when you were rolling through that schedule, I was thinking in my mind, okay, this is when we're visiting this hospital, or this is when we're doing that. I would love to come back and explain to y'all and talk to you guys about the community service and the outreach we do on the road.
That's you, and that's wonderful. I didn't realize that what all y'all do.
Actually, Coach Graff puts that together, my associate head coach. But the ladies in our program understand that the way that you make yourself the happiest is serving other people, and that's another whole story of our program. So we hope to be, and we plan on being holding up a third championship trophy at the end of this year. But the memories within that trophy, we hope, is embodied by serving other people.
Your goals, of course, conference championship would be your first goal, and then the NCAA playoffs.
Tournament, but that's not where we want to stop. Our goal this year is to get in that tournament. NCAA, you have to win your conference to get in it. So that's a tough step right there. We want to get in it and win some games. This year's never been done at Troy.
Thank you so much for being with us.
God bless.
We're going to take a break. Max, you hold on. We're going to take a break, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back to more of Today in LA. Thank you.
Troy Cable Security makes it easy to stay aware and stay in control of your home wherever you are. User-friendly interface allows easy navigation for lights, locks thermostat, video, and garage doors. Never worry about leaving your garage door open or the front door unlocked. Your mobile app can send alerts to your phone for alarm and no alarm events. Know when your children arrive home from school with video response. Make sure your home is powered by Troy Cable Security for ultimate access, awareness, and protection.
Are you girls ready?
We've been ready. Let's do this party. Shh, it's supposed to be pride.
So guys, is it time yet? Well, what's going on?
It's a big celebration.
It's our 1-year anniversary.
The party is on.
Let's get this party started.
Party!
Thank you, Troy.
For your business and making our first year in Troy a huge success.
Surprise!
Just remember, nobody beats Premier Deal.
Nobody! I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
One nation under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Here at Town & Country, we are proud to be an American.
We've had you covered on the inside since 2005, and with our addition of Southern Grill and Patio, we now have you covered on the outside. Come see our great selection, where we make sure grilling and relaxing go hand in hand.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC, where we've gone pink, invites you to join us in the fight against breast cancer. Purchase any car, truck, or SUV in October, and we give $100 to fight breast cancer, as well as $100 to help those affected by Hurricane Michael. Get savings up to $17,000 on new Sierras and Silverados, and up to $12,000 on Yukon and Tahoes. Bill Jackson, where we've gone pink. A short drive from everywhere, with savings like nowhere else.
Back to our show, brought to you by Dixieland Dental, located 9 miles north of Dothan on Highway 231. Dr. Michael Precise, Dr. John Strength, Dr. Damon Strength, and Dr. Robert Precise make up one of the largest dental clinics in Alabama. Also, First Cahaba Bank, coming to, of course, on South Grundy Street right here in Troy, but soon to be in their brand new location just off of the bypass right here in Troy, and, of course, right there where we're going to have a full-service bank, and a beautiful bank indeed, First Cahaba Bank of Troy. Max Howell is our guest, as he is every week at this time. And, Coach, I appreciate you helping us with the commentation this morning.
Well, you know, Mike, that's an interesting. Remember when I came through, and probably right early in your even when you were in high school, we didn't have women's basketball in the state of Alabama.
That's right.
I mean, if you wanted, you had to go to Georgia or Mississippi. It took years before, I think the early 70s, I think you said.
That's right.
Women's basketball ever started at the high school level. So, I mean, these other states had a big jump.
Now, you know, right now, and of course, back when we came along, it was not a Title IX, which, made it where college women could play major college sports, and under Title IX, there's several sports that are scholarship programs, such as women's basketball, such as women's volleyball, track, softball, volleyball, just all of those great sports. And now, think about this. Back when you and I came around, of course, especially you, there was nothing there for women. And then later on, I got the tail end or the early part of softball. That was, and finally, Alabama finally got girls basketball. We went a long time without having girls basketball. Georgia had girls basketball for years. You remember that?
And Mississippi did too.
Yeah.
I mean, both those states were way ahead, Mike.
And I would like to say now that Alabama has finally caught up, but for a long time, I officiated basketball, and those teams from Georgia would just wear these Alabama teams out.
Sure.
Because they've been playing ball since they were a kid. They had a basketball in the cradle.
Yeah. I'm almost going to say that was a state law. I believe on the books at that particular time. That's vague. Your memory gets a little vague as older you get. But I'm thinking that was the way they kept it down for whatever reason. Just an old conservative approach to it from the political side.
All right, Max.
You're right. Yeah, it was a long time coming, Mike.
No question about it. Max Howell, of course, ladies and gentlemen, had his own network over in Fulton, Mississippi, and of course, he's one of the top sports people that I know around, and we're very fortunate to have him with us. I'm going to call out a few games. First of all, let's talk about Alabama and LSU.
Okay.
What is your feeling about that game? That game is a 7 o'clock kickoff.
The line opened up at 14.5. I think it dropped to 13.5. A lot of LSU fans jumped on that right quick. But, Nick Saban's had 2 weeks to get ready, Mike. And it'll be by far the toughest game Alabama's played. But they're averaging 54 points a game on offense. They're not in the top 25. They're not in the top 15 in any defensive category. But their defense is adequate, and that's where they've been strong. So the thing that I think that LSU can't do, they can't keep up with Alabama's scoring. LSU's defense is adequate. It'll be the best they played against this year. But nobody's held them to under 50, hardly any 50. And I think the thing, LSU starts off without their middle linebacker, Devin White.
Yeah, I know. That's going to make a difference, isn't it?
Right, it will be. And I think Alabama takes advantage of that early on. I think Alabama wins that one. It'll be a great ball game, but I think they win in their cover.
And then, of course, they get ready to go down the line against Mississippi State, and then later on Auburn, and then for the Alabama's got everything in their hands. I mean, they've got a great chance to run the table. Max Howell's our guest. Max, I'm gonna put you on hold a second. I got a caller coming in real quick. Hold on a second. Good morning. You're on Today in LA. How you doing?
Hi, morning. This is call back.
All right, Mike. I'm gonna try to pull y'all through here. We've got one. We're gonna put you on hold right here. All right, we got you on. Max? Mike, got you on?
I'm on.
Oh, boy. Let's see if we can get Max on real quick. I think we got both of you. Max, you on? We're trying to get Max Howell back on here. And, Mike, let me put you on hold here and see if I can get him right here. All right, Max Howell. Max Howell. Hopefully Max will call back in. Max, are you on now? There we go, right there. All right, Max, that you? Hello.
That's me.
All right, here we go, right here. All right, Max? We didn't pick up. We lost Max. Go back to you, Mike. And there we go. We'll get Max coming back through in just a moment. Sorry about that. It's me, not anything else. Good morning. Max, you back on?
Mike, you got to get your board up.
I know it. I'm going to learn how to do this one of these days. Max Howell, so you like Alabama over LSU? Alabama's going to need it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody. I mean, the big LSU fans think, and even my best friend that coached the defensive front last year for him, Pete Jenkins, said, I got him on the air with me today, said that this is LSU's best chance. But that's all he'd say. He knows he coached both sides. At both places,
and you got to be strong up front to beat Alabama. I mean, your offensive and defensive lines have got to be very strong, don't they?
They really do, Mike. And they got to have depth.
Yeah.
You got to play Alabama 60 minutes. You can't play 45 and then coast the last quarter.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. Alabama will score 20 on you in the last quarter if you don't care.
Max, another thing about beating Alabama, you better have a pass rush. If you can pressure the quarterback, I reckon that's even against Brady or anybody you're playing against, a Breeze, whatever, you've got to pressure the quarterback, and that's to me. If Alabama better be balanced, they better be able to run the ball and throw the ball. If they become one-dimensional, LSU's got a chance, don't you think?
Well, not against Tua, they don't. Tua's the best quarterbacks play this in the country.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah. Well, what I'm saying though, if you did shut them, so you think he could throw every day? You think Tua is the quarterback to throw every down? Is that right?
Well, yeah, but remember they got five running backs who can play for anybody in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, if you rush 3 and drop 8, they're gonna just hand it off and run for 20 yards.
And if you watch them, they run behind their blocks too. They're
exactly right. I mean, look, they is good of football. I think this is Nick Saban's best coaching job ever that he had. Remember, he had to replace 6 coaches, and he lost about 12 guys off that team last year. He put 12 in the NFL. Mike, last year's team.
Okay, that's a 7 o'clock kickoff on national TV. Of course, Auburn plays early again on 11 o'clock kickoff from Jordan Hare against a pretty good A&M team. But somehow I like Auburn here. What do you think?
Well, at home, I think, here's a stat. Texas A&M's never lost at Auburn. I mean, that's an interesting stat. The road team in that matchup has always won.
Yeah.
Go back and check the stats. Now, Auburn, under all the turmoil they've gone through, A&M did not play well this past week against Mississippi State. They were very vulnerable to the pass, and I think that's what Auburn will do. I think that's their run. That's their strength right now. The run's not been. So I think Auburn wins in a close one, but they're going to have to come to play. They can't just come out there and, fiddle around like we've seen it, in a couple of ball games this year.
Of course, Troy, so do you like Auburn in that game, or do you?
I like Auburn. No, I like Auburn in a close one. I think they win it by 3, maybe.
And, of course, they've got to be balanced. They've got to be able to run the football. Let me tell you how times have changed. The kid that was such a great running back for Auburn last year that got hurt, a big kid.
Johnson.
No, not Johnson, the other kid, the other big guy.
Not Petway.
Petway, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's from Prattville.
Yeah, the kid, all right. If he doesn't get hurt, no telling how hard it would have been to beat Auburn. But he did get hurt. You know that young man now is a coach at Park Crossing High School in Montgomery. Is a high school coach.
I read that. Seemed like I did.
And it's a full-time job now. It's it's an actual full-time job. He left Auburn, of course, early. What we're talking about, he could have been there running back this year. Did you know that? He had another year of eligibility.
Yeah, he'd have been another year.
And what a year he might have had if he had gone back this year. Of course, ifs and buts were candy and nuts. It'd be Christmas every day. But
I'm going to tell you that's what, to me, those are the indications there's some turmoil going on inside.
But
why wouldn't he have stayed another year?
I know it, and the pro draft people said the same thing about him.
Yep.
He had too many problems, and that's what hurt him in the draft, was too many problems. Well, he goes as a free agent. He's not drafted, and goes as a free agent. I forgot exactly what team it was, and he didn't make it. So here he is, this great player at one time. He was one of the toughest players and best runners in the country at one time. Left Auburn early to thinking that he's going to get big money in the pros. The pros didn't like him because he had too many problems, so he was not drafted. So he becomes a free agent, and he goes to a pro team. He runs the ball 14 times for about 12 yards in games that he played in. And he's now a coach at Park Crossing. Isn't that amazing?
That is. I mean, you can never tell where they go, what they're going to do. And sometimes it's a shame when one, again, you can't quite keep him straight all along the way.
Yeah.
You try to change his.
And he was a great college back, didn't you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look what he was able to do.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, he was recruited out of Prattville as a fullback, a blocking back. But he improved so much. That's why they put him back there as a single back in the offense.
With he and Johnson in the backfield at the same time was scary. That was just downright scary. And of course, like your mama told you so many times, Max, grass is not always greener on the other side of the fence.
Very true. Very true.
So these kids that are making this jump, thinking they're going to make big money and have all this stuff thrown in the face, and most of the cases, the reason they leave, though, because they either haven't been going to class or something like that, and they're not going to be eligible or whatever. But it's just a shame. Now, he's still going to try to make it in the pros, and he might do it, but he's coaching at Park Crossing right now.
Well, I'll tell you this, the longer he stays out, the harder it's going to be. But you got a U crop coming every year, and I don't care how much dedication you do. You can't work out enough to get yourself back to that physical condition that you did when you first came out.
Max, very important. This is the Troy game, which is Saturday at 2:30. Homecoming. A lot of your old buddies will be back. Troy and Louisiana Lafayette. I said something the other day when I noticed that Lafayette gained over 200 yards rushing against Alabama. Lafayette, everybody says Lafayette, well, they got killed. Well, in the second half, most of those rushes were in the second half, and they rushed for over 200 yards. since that game, Lafayette's been lights out. They've been very good.
Yep.
And Troy's got a tough ball game. What do you think there?
Oh, yeah, Troy's got to, look, they got to line up. They got to score, Mike. They got to score.
Because this bunch scored 47 against Arkansas State, beat them 47-43.
And that's what I'm saying. They got to score, and the best way to do it is to run the football and keep that offense on the sideline.
And we lost Jones, our great kick returner and defensive back. We lost him, and we also could have lost our wide receiver, who is a pro prospect with a bad ankle.
You already lost your starting quarterback.
And already lost our starting quarterback. Injuries are playing a big part, but this is a huge game for Troy. If they can get by here and then turn the corner against Georgia Southern, they might do some crazy stuff. What do you think?
I was impressed with Georgia Southern the other night. I didn't realize. Remember, I was at the game last year. I think Georgia Southern what they were like 2-10 or something.
That's right.
They had a coaching change. Then all of a sudden they'll rank. The talent was there. They just this coaching staff just didn't get it out of them.
All right, Coach. We got to go off the air and in just a second or two. But do you like Troy or Louisiana in that game?
You know I got to take Troy homecoming.
That's right. That's right.
I got to go with Troy this week.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Max. And quickly, what's for dinner? Quickly.
Oh man, we're gonna cook steaks on the grill tonight, and I'm gonna have all the compliments: corn on the cob, a half salad with $1,000 dressing, garlic bread, and a big old banana pudding for dessert.
Whoa, that sounds good. Thank you so much, Max.
Talk to you next week. Okay.
See you next week. Bye-bye. Max Howell calling in from Fulton, Mississippi. Hope you enjoyed our show. Chandra Rigby, outstanding women's basketball coach at Troy. I know you were as impressed as I was with that interview. And you can watch it again today at 1:30 right here on Channel 2, Troy Cablevision. You folks on Facebook, hope you're enjoying our show every morning today in Lower Alabama. See you tomorrow.